And now I'm gonna share with you a quick heads up on Casemiro's situation in Manchester United, because some of y'all want to know what's going on with Casemiro in Manchester United, considering we haven't listened too much about the Brazilian player since he left Real Madrid. Well, let me tell you something. The times are a little bit dark for Casemiro in Manchester. The reason for that is because since he arrived to United, he only had one game in the starting 11, and the rest of the games he's been on the bench, starting from the bench in every single game, and he only plays the last 20 the 30 minutes, or sometimes he hasn't even played, right? So for example, Anthony, the other signing of Manchester United that came actually later than Casemiro, he's been playing every single minute, right? For some people, Casemiro is going through hard times in Manchester just because the player is a very good player and nobody had any doubt about it. But some of the legends, of the old legends in Manchester United, are questioning the signing of the Brazilian player, considering, they were not questioning the quality of the player, but the signing in itself. What was the necessity of Manchester United to sign a player like a Casemiro, considering he is making double the salary in Manchester versus Real Madrid? That's number one. Number two, a player in his age who was supposed to arrive for being in the starting 11 every single time, and now he's on the bench all the time, and you've spent about 80 million euros. What was the point of that, right? It didn't make any sense for some of the old legends in Old Trafford. So some people out there are asking, okay, why did we do that? There was no any necessity. To me, it was, considering Casemiro, considering Manchester United had been receiving a lot of goals and conceding a lot of goals, and they had to reinforce a little bit more the defense. Casemiro was the perfect player to be there, right? To build up a wall in order for Manchester United to reduce a little bit the number of goals they were receiving all the time. But apparently Erik ten Hag is not quite sure about the quality or the difference Casemiro was going to make in the defense line, and apparently now he prefers to have Casemiro on the bench and McTominay on the starting 11. Manchester United is moving through. It's improving a little bit more. It's kind of, we are seeing something better from them. Not great, right? But a little bit better. And as long as you get results, as long as you get wins, as long as your team is moving forward, as long as your team is, not in top in the standings, but is fighting or still have chances to win the Premier League, of course, nobody can tell you what player you have to use or not, right? Because you still have the scores backing you up, and there's no reason for anybody to tell you who you have to use or utilize or what players you have to use or not, right? But of course, for Casemiro, I think it's not great. I think in somehow he was expecting for this to happen, considering in his age, considering he already knew there were players in the squad that had more chances to be in the starting 11 ahead of him, right? But I don't know, man. The situation is complicated, and for all those Madridistas fans, for all Real Madrid fans, it's kind of hard to see Casemiro on the bench all the time, but it is what it is, man. Every time you decide to go out of Real Madrid, you have to assume it is a very good expression in Spain that we say it is very cold outside Real Madrid. And that means, what I mean by that is, every time you go out, every time you decide to leave Real Madrid, you have to be ready for everything, right? Because in Real Madrid, all the pieces come together, and we work as a kind of perfect machine where every single piece makes sense. But when you go out and you have to get together with other pieces and stuff like that, it's a little bit more complicated. And of course, it is kind of impossible because you've been playing in a very different style, way, stuff like that, right? So when you go out and you have to get the things together is a little bit more complicated because the players are completely different and they play in a different style, different ways. So yeah, every time it happens. It happened with Sergio Ramos, it happened with Luka Jovic, it happened with Rafa Varane in Manchester United, and has happened with Casemiro as well. So of course my best wishes for Casemiro, but apparently it's gonna be kind of hard and kind of complicated to reverse that situation. And then let me move on and let's talk about Marco Asensio, because the other day, I mean, as you know, Spain lost against Switzerland 1-2, and the problem with that is not the national team, but Marco Asensio, he scored one goal, right? He still has the trust of Luis Enrique, and unlike Carlo Ancelotti, unlike Real Madrid, Marco Asensio is still important for the national team of Spain. And instead of being happy and enjoy that time playing and enjoy his time in the national team, what he did the other day, he went again viral in the social media for a gesture to the fans. And to me, that is completely, I mean, it's not understandable considering the players should be happy. And in the first goal of Spain, in the goal of Jordi Alba, he turned around, I think that he turned to the public, right? And he made a gesture, very rude gesture, or a gesture that people kind of signed that the people didn't interpret it in the right way or in the good way. It was actually, what we saw, it was his face completely like angry, mad, and then he threw to the air the arm like celebrating, but with angry pace or something like that. So the interpretation that the people did about that gesture, about that sign, about, it was like, why is this guy so angry with us? Because they were not playing in the Santiago Bernabeu or something like that. No, they were playing in another stadium with different people, different fans. He was probably hearing something coming out from the public, from the standings. But man, you cannot start a fight every single time you play. You have to be happy, you have to enjoy it, you have to, in the national team, right, the coach is still trusting you. So you score, you're able to score 2 assists, to have good minutes, stuff like that. Man, enjoy it. Enjoy, that's it. Don't be so angry with everybody, because nobody, is not everybody's fault. What is happening to you in Real Madrid, that's your thing. You have to own your own business in Real Madrid and take a decision, a responsible decision. And the only reason why people is apparently against you, it is because of these kind of gestures, right? Because you apparently feel that you have the right to play in the starting 11 of Real Madrid every single Sunday. And that doesn't work that way. In Real Madrid, only play who he really deserves. You know what I'm saying? If Rodrigo deserves, he plays. If Pedro Valverde deserves, he plays. If Vinicius Jr. deserves, he plays. If you don't deserve, you're not gonna play. That's pretty obvious, man. That is how Real Madrid works. And that is how Real Madrid has been working over the last 60 years. Nobody is above Real Madrid. And you have to understand, but apparently it's difficult, very difficult for him to understand, okay? So, more stuff. Regarding to all the criticism related to I'm gonna skip this one, and I'm gonna talk about the latest article from Jose Felix Diaz talking about the future of Endrick, because apparently Real Madrid, Jose Felix Diaz is confirming Real Madrid is very interested in Endrick. So in the same article, what he does is deny the rumors around other Brazilian players like João Gomes, Mateus Nascimento, and others, right? Real Madrid for now is waiting for Endrick, right, to take off a little bit more, okay? And as of that moment, we will go ahead with everything. We will go all in to sign the player. But players like João Victor Gomes, Vitor Roque, Mateus Nascimento, or Pedro Guilherme are not players in which Real Madrid is interested at all. That is according to Jose Felix Diaz. For now, it's just Endrick, and that's it. And of course, the fact he shares representation agency with Vinicius Jr. is a good thing, and it helps, right? It helps. And Real Madrid, as you know, knows really well the Brazilian market. I mean, Real Madrid has has scanned and monitored the Brazilian market over the last years, and the deals with Vinicius Jr., with Rodrigo Goes, they came just because Real Madrid knows very well every single corner, every single detail of the Brazilian market. We knows very good because Juni Calafat is the responsible for it, and Endrick, of course, is the next target of Real Madrid, and we will probably go ahead and sign the player as long as he keep performing the same way. And of course, if we can do that, because he's a very young player, and for now we cannot just lose our head and go all in for him, because he's still young, he's still early, and we have to wait a little bit. Okay, so a little bit, yeah, but that's really true. Apparently Endrick is the next goal of Real Madrid, and as long as we can, we will go ahead and sign the player. But of course, we will have to wait a little bit before to sign the racing star, to the new talent, to the new Brazilian player, Endrick. So that's it.